All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to this explainer where we are diving deep into the fascinating Field Codex to uncover the metaphysical reasons why alien contact hasn't happened yet. Now, if you're tuned into the vast and, let's be honest, often super confusing lore surrounding extraterrestrials, you know there are literally countless theories out there. We're talking everything from crashed saucers in the desert to secret underground treaties. But today, we're looking at a completely different paradigm drawn straight from Volume 7 of the Field Codex. This text proposes a wild idea that the lack of open contact isn't some accident, it's not a technological failure, and it's not even a grand government conspiracy. Instead, it's actually a matter of cosmic law. I mean, we've all asked the ultimate question at some point, right? Why haven't they just landed on the White House lawn? But let's forget the blurring photos and the late-night internet forums for a second. What if the answer has absolutely nothing to do with spaceships or advanced propulsion? What if it has everything to do with cosmic law and our own planetary evolution? The Codex makes a really compelling argument here. Open contact is being actively, intentionally prevented by a system of strict structural boundaries. So here's our roadmap for today's breakdown. We're going to cover the cosmic quarantine, the mechanics of grids, artifacts, and amnesia, the whole distraction of secrecy, how we can actually raise our planetary amplitude, and finally, what happens when the veil lifts. Okay, part 1, the cosmic quarantine. Let's explore this radical premise that Earth is operating under an active, structured quarantine. This concept absolutely flips the script on popular theories. We are so used to the usual surface narratives, you know? Governments hiding the truth, the fear that society would just completely panic, or maybe the idea that highly advanced beings just don't want to contaminate our primitive culture. But the Codex? It basically dismisses all of those as secondary or even as engineered misdirections. The real barrier is what it calls true field law. This is all about cosmic jurisdiction. It's about preserving Earth's evolutionary sovereignty so our development isn't artificially short-circuited by outside interference. So think of a quarantine overlay like a giant planetary firewall designed to stop unauthorized interference. It's a structural boundary written into the very architecture of our reality. And the whole purpose here isn't to imprison us, it's actually to protect us. It prevents trauma amplification, it stops mass memory breaches, and it guarantees that humanity's lesson cycle is completed under native conditions. External forces literally cannot just swoop in and rescue us. It's kind of like doing a student's homework for them. They never actually learn the material. This firewall enforces a strict non-interference law, so we actually graduate on our own merits. Moving right along to part 2. Grids, artifacts, and amnesia. How exactly is this massive planetary firewall enforced? Picture this. An unauthorized ship is approaching Earth. It doesn't just fly right into our airspace. First, it hits grid restrictions. This is a multi-dimensional mesh of ley lines and planetary nodes locking our reality within very specific bounds. If it somehow pushes past that, artifact protocols act as the next gatekeepers. These are literal, living artifacts, things like crystal skulls or the Ark, that can trigger time anomalies, memory distortions, or even complete technical failures to repel the craft. And if, by some crazy chance, a sighting still manages to happen, amnesia overlays kick in. The mass consciousness of Earth is actually programmed to forget or suppress encounters that happen outside of lawful conditions. It often replaces them entirely with fabricated screen memories. To really grasp why craft can't just bust through the grid, we have to talk about amplitude gating. Basically, this means our collective frequency, our resonance as a planet, is currently way too low for mutual recognition. It's exactly like trying to tune into a specific radio station when your dial is on the completely wrong frequency. An incoming operator or craft literally cannot achieve resonance with our planetary scenario. It is a strict physics issue, not a social one. If they try to descend, they are filtered out by the field. They might be rendered invisible, physically repelled, or literally bounced to a non-local field entirely, totally unable to anchor into our reality. Which brings us to part 3, the distraction of secrecy. Why are we so hyper-focused on conspiracies instead of our own planetary resonance? Okay, this is where the Codex gets truly provocative. It views things like black projects and the whole UFO disclosure movement simply as programmed distractions. Now sure, there might be some truth to government secrecy, but the real secrecy is enforced by the field itself, not by some intelligence agency. Obsessing over government cover-ups or constantly demanding disclosure is, according to the text, actually a test of our discernment. The system allows these mythic psychological narratives to run as screens. They draw our attention away from the real work, which is understanding the lawful architecture of the field. So no, you absolutely cannot hack the quarantine. pointing lasers at the sky, sending out massive radio broadcasts, or doing summoning rituals, it's not going to work. If an individual or a group tries to force contact using signal beacons or rituals before the planet's amplitude is actually ready, the field enacts an immediate correction. This fail-safe can result in equipment frying, weird weather distortions, memory inversion, or the entire event just being totally erased from our collective memory. The field prioritizes evolutionary integrity over human curiosity, every single time. Let's transition to part 4, raising planetary amplitude. What is humanity's active role in all of this? We are not just passive observers here. We are what the Codex calls operators. And this is a massive paradigm shift to grasp. We are not waiting to be rescued. Actually, scratch that whole rescue idea completely. We are entirely responsible for repairing our own collective trauma to raise our amplitude. Contact isn't some reward for good behavior, and it's definitely not a technological milestone we hit just by building faster rockets. It is an effect. It's the direct result of lawful collective field harmonization. As long as our planetary field is fractured by war, fear, and unresolved trauma, external contact remains lawfully impossible. To actually pull off this healing, humanity is divided into these really fascinating operator archetypes. It's almost like a cosmic team, and honestly, you might recognize yourself in one of these. The cartographer meticulously maps out the field and recovers lost historical memories. The healer does the profound heavy lifting, resolving planetary and individual trauma, which directly lifts those amnesia overlays we talked about earlier. The builder works hands-on with the planetary grids and ancient artifacts to physically harmonize our resonance. And the dreamer? They use shared visions and dream work to bridge memories and intuitively test the waters for lawful contact. When this team does their work, the planetary amplitude naturally rises. And finally, part 5, when the veil lifts. Let's look at the endgame. What exactly happens when our collective amplitude finally hits that necessary threshold and the quarantine drops? Well, the Codex clearly states it won't be a sci-fi alien invasion, and it won't be an angelic rescue mission either. It's going to be a mutual graduation. It will be a natural, seamless emergence of resonance and shared cosmic memory. The whole ET question will literally just dissolve. It won't be about belief or desperately seeking evidence anymore, because the field itself will support and integrate the presence of our cosmic kin. It's just going to become our new ordinary reality. Earth's evolutionary arc is a very specific, mapped-out journey. We started at step 1, total quarantine and amnesia, entirely cut off to protect our early development. Right now, we're in the messy trenches of step 3, memory repair, trying our best to heal and raise our amplitude. But once we achieve harmonic contact, Earth actually moves into councilhood, meaning we literally take our seat at the cosmic table as equals. And finally, we reach stewardship, where we actually help other newly developing worlds navigate their own quarantines. This arc is the ultimate blueprint for lawful evolution across all worlds. This completely reorients how we should view our isolation. There's a quote from the text that just hits the nail on the head. The quarantine is a womb, not a prison. We are still gestating. The amnesia, the strict boundaries, the silence from the stars, it is all an amniotic field keeping us fundamentally safe while we develop our evolutionary sovereignty. Piercing it too early would be a total disaster. It's only going to open when we as a collective are truly ready to be born into the wider cosmos. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question for you to chew on. Are you actively working as an operator to heal trauma and raise the planetary amplitude? Or are you just passively looking up at the sky, hoping a ship is going to come down and fix everything? Because according to the Field Codex, the key to the universe isn't out there. It's in the hard, harmonizing work we have to do right here. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Now go out there and keep doing the work.